Lavinia Tinai sets play underway to find out the 5th place finalist. Nice little adaptation there on the restart, but Mikhailsova quick to read. Fijian discipline has been a cause for concern within their camp this weekend. They're going to have to make sure they keep on the right side of the referee, especially early on as both teams look to get into their rhythm.
Go.
Petrova. Mikhailsova. Quick transference out to the wing. Yashina tiptoeing down this near side touchline, keeping the ball alive though. Prestiak looking at options. Strakova releasing the backs again. Just trying to pull these Fijian defenders out of position early on. They know that the Russian attack has got plenty of mobility. Fiji with the power and the strength. That may be a too simplistic a comparison, but it certainly is part of the way that they play, a dominant part of the way they play their rugby. Petrova gets the offload in, and Mikhailsova is going to go over for a very good score to start things off with.
Yeah, perfect start for Russia, controlling the tempo. 29th try of the series, 9th here in Sydney, and just showing their class as well. This Russian team not afraid to go into the contact, asking questions of Fiji at the tackle area. Too much support. Wonderful start, and they certainly deserve the first try of this match.
Well, Russia coming into this series without Nadezhda Kudenova, who's normally their playmaker, but you cannot underestimate the work done by Petrova, the captain. We talk a lot about some of their strike force, but when you've got a skipper like that doing a job like that, you see the benefits, and that's how the door opened there for Mikhailsova. So Fiji yet to get their hands on the ball, yet to get their attacking game into any sort of rhythm. But they're going to have to be patient and hold their belief. Had 2 very tough games against their hosts, the Australians, to end last night and begin today. Ran them very close, 26-17 last night. And but for a yellow card may well have caused the first and indeed probably only shock that we've seen in this tournament so far. Great strength coming through the tackle. Ruai doing very well to release the ball. Russian defenders trying to suffocate the ball carrier. Tap and go from Mangasau. Sent wide by Tinai. Naon Basali just cutting across towards that far touchline and getting a little haphazard, and the ricochet working for Russia. And now this Fijian defence is going to be stretched. Seredina sets it back for Hamadova. Distinctive player holding the ball in one hand, Fijiana-like. The break around the side from Ryashina, but Fiji managing to hold Russia inside their own half and getting the benefits for it as well.
Well, they've got the turnover and the quick tap.
And off they go with Rungitha, the Fijian captain, trying to get a bit more rhythm, a bit more pace into their game, but losing the ball in the contact. And here go Russia. It's Strakova. Nobody is going to get near her. She eats up the ground with every stride. And it's ultimately going to be an amble over underneath the post for Russia, try number 2.
So much class, defence can turn into attack, and that's why this Russian team is so dangerous. They withheld everything that Fiji threw at them, and then just one turnover, one missed tackle, and Thadova just couldn't believe her luck. Once she got into the backfield, there was no Fijian to be seen. And this is a polished performance from the Russian women.
Yeah, the Fijian sweeper had been pulled up into attacking mode, I think, and they reacted so quickly, Russia, that there was no chance to get back in to stop Strakova. Scored a brace of tries in that demolition of England yesterday. Back on the board now, and already that scoreboard suiting the Russians. A very, very warm day here in Sydney. It has been up as high as 37 degrees in the last 3 weeks. Seemed to have abated a little bit over the last couple of days, but we're back up into the 30s today with over 60% humidity as well. The temperature, you would have thought, would have suited the Fijiana ladies rather than the Russian ladies. See how that pans out through the course of this game. Timo Revisa, such an elusive runner, again trying to get her hands on the ball. Fiji trying to keep it alive. Tinai, well, opts for the kick pass. Siata is after it, she needs to bounce, she gets it. Now she revs the engine and goes again. Petrova's coming back at her, but she hasn't got time. Oh, and just about dots the ball down. Fiji on the board.
Well, that's just typical Fijian play. Great heads up, looking at where the space was. Priscilla Siata, well, she was patrolling the right flank, and there was no Russian within Kui. So just the crossfield kick from Tinai. She's just a wonderful player as Tinai puts it on the money. And all Siata had to do was control it, catch it, and run 35 metres to put Fiji back in this match.
And a very apt time to score, of course. The psychological swings within 7 minutes are incredible. But if you can get a score on the board, certainly just before the break, it can change the whole team talk.
Well, we saw that in the great comeback by the French team in the match earlier, and so Fiji just got to get back into their structure. They've got to play their game. They're getting into the contact, and they've been beaten up really there by the Russians. That's Fiji at their best, when they can spread it wide and use the players that are out unmarked.
One score difference as we work our way towards the half-time whistle. These last plays of the half are huge, and we've seen it already, both in the women's and men's game. They never seem to stop and head for the half-time if they can possibly keep play moving. Siata, try scorer, keeping the ball alive, and here come Fiji again. Just resetting the sat-nav now, pulling out to this left flank. The cut ball for Revisa. Tries to work her way through one. Perestiak desperately trying to pull her opposite number down. Big opportunity here for Fiji. Huge width available. Siata again holding out wide, and there she is. Can she finish off? Driving for the line. And the try's given. A Siata 1-2, and Fiji really back in the mix in this one.
Well, the thing that impressed me was right from the start, Daviua got up and competed for the kickoff. They won the ball. 7 phases later, they used great width to the Fijians. They showed a lot of maturity, and patience rewards Siata, who hung out on the right-hand flank again. Good strength to get over the line to bring them back even closer.
A conversion to put Fiji into the lead from Nangasao. Awkward angle for the right-footed kicker. Yes. She's got it, though. And Fiji have got the lead with the last kick of the first half. And once again, we see a sevens rugby match with huge swings inside a half of rugby. It's Fiji leading. I beg pardon, Fiji tying things up at 12 points apiece.
Ногу уступаем в краю. Здесь, смотри, когда у них лишний, немножко оттягивается. По скорости вы успеете переместиться в край, согнать. Чтобы удара ноги этого не было, ладно? Крайне. В своей зоне 20 метров делать, чтобы прессовывать, не бейс, там вот стоять. Прессовывать вверх в краю. Владеть мячи! Давай, 7 минут, девочки.
ASC funding also supports Australian Rugby Union with best practice governance, business capability and coach leadership support. Sydney Sevens. Get your ASICS and Sydney Sevens merchandise from stadium stores on the concourse And in the Southern Plaza this week.
So both coaches imploring their teams to stick to the game plan. I have to admit, my Russian and Fijian may not be up to scratch, but you can tell just how calm the coaches have to be in scenarios like this, Willie, because you've got to keep your team on track. You've got to keep them on point.
Well, I think the Russian coach must be saying that they dominated the first 2 minutes and then really went to sleep and let Fiji back in the game.
Let's see who's going to come out of the blocks the quickest in this vital second half. Daveua off the bench for Fiji. And she taps and goes, but not from the right place. Anna Maria Rungitha, the Fijian captain, settling things down once again. Stretching play across to the far side until it's straightened up by Thumu. Merawai Thumu has really shown huge impact in her game time so far. Little offload out for Daveua, but really nowhere to operate on this near side. Thumu again, but this time feeding out to Tima Revisos. As I mentioned earlier, so elusive when she gets into a running pattern, a running stride. Here we go, the one-handed play that is the trademark of Fijian rugby. Out it goes again. Nangasau gets the cutback from Daveua, and in the end, it falls to Talikabondo to finish things off. And Fiji, for the first time in this game now, are in the lead.
Well, that's one of the best tries you'll see too, because they kept the ball right from the kickoff. 90 seconds, they've held on to possession, have Fiji, as Russia did in the first half, where they scored straight away. The Fijians patiently again building. And for me, there's a couple of things that are standing out. Daveua, who's coming off the bench, has been great at the kickoff and receiving the ball, but it's the lines they run and their playmakers, Nagasau and T-Knight, involved. And there she is again, Daveua, with the final pass to Vondo. And it really has been the impact from the bench for Fiji.
Just wonder about the communication in that Russian defensive line. So many players following the ball and not able to establish a blue wall, if you like, to actually hold the Fijians up. Mentally now, a huge challenge for Russia. Fiji on a roll. Next score is a huge score in every context. Mikatsova.
Back player.
Petrova. Oh, that was a pass that was easily anticipated. Footballing skills from Riwai. And there is the second try. And that is a big, big psychological blow for Fiji.
Well, high fives all round on the bench for the Fijians. The error from Russia. They were trying to put a woman into space and they couldn't do it. And the Fijians just pounced on that mistake right there. Inside-out defence, and then some lovely football skills here shown by Riwai. She might be signed up for the women's soccer team in the next World Cup. That is beautiful.
A dual internationalist on the way, no doubt. And yeah, you're right, Willie. That is really hot skills, right foot and left foot from the Fijian number 10. And this Russian confidence now must be so fragile, so brittle. Fiji have got to make the most of it, though. We saw France come back in the earlier game. It's always a case of never say never.
Yeah, don't even write off this Russian team. They've got class. They just haven't had possession for the last 6 minutes, and for them it must have seemed like 6 hours. They just need to get possession.
Well, they get the restart going from Fiji, and it works out very well. And yet again, you just look at the way that Russia is setting up. Doesn't seem to be a lot of communication between the ladies, and just need to get themselves together, reboot themselves in many ways to get their teamwork going. Hamidova providing the possession. Mikatsova unable to get her way out of the 22. Beg your pardon, that was Bistrova, one of the twins, twin sister started yesterday but got injured. Daria Bokova
Not advantage.
not able to play in this knockout phase. The clock is Fiji's friend right now. 2-score difference, but as we always know in this game, things can change so quickly. Russia need to make things change quickly with the score now as they work it out to Strakova. Good tackling from Anna Maria Naimasi.
Well, there's tackles in the first half that were being missed by the Fijians are on point now. Showing her the sideline. Using the sideline as another defender, and Naimasi does a great job in just closing it down.
You can just see how confident Fiji have become, Willie, through the way that the last 5-6 minutes of rugby has been played to their pace, to their style.
Yeah, they've gone back to playing Fijian style, and that's what they need to do. So dangerous with ball in hand are the Fijians.
Fumu combining well with Vondo. And now the break is on, and it's Lady Tima Ravisa on the board again, and surely that now must be game, set and match to Fijiana.
Strong at the set piece, and then they got it out to Tima Ravisa, 20th try of the series. And it was just a mismatch as soon as they went through the middle there. Again, the impact from the bench, and Fumu sets it up, and then the offload. The Russians were looking at each other, and all of a sudden, Ravisa just pinned her ears back and said, I'm going to help myself to a 5-pointer and put us into the final.
Just need a hint of a dog leg in the opposition defence, and Fiji exploit that gap. Time and time again, we've seen it. Tima Ravisa, well, it was only a matter of time before she once again got herself on the scoreboard. You see her pushing her way up that particular list, and with the form that she's been showing this weekend, it's only a matter of time before she's looking down on the rest of them, surely. Again, Russia unable to combine successfully to get themselves out of the 22. They've got a little bit of respite there.
Well, it's infectious, Simon. You score tries, but also the defence comes up, and that big hit coming in from Naimasi really asked some questions of the Russians. They were looking around for someone else to pass the ball to.
Well, the Russian physicality that we saw in the first 4 or 5 minutes seems to have completely disappeared now. And there's only one team in command of this game. A strip from Fijiana. No, I think Russia just about managed to hold on there. Hamidova. Fiji corralling Russia into their own 22. Desperate for the breakout. Is it going to come here? Ferocious contest at the breakdown there, but it's Russia who are able to try and move it away with Mikhailsova. Now she manages to get her engine revved. Off she goes, up to halfway. The support is there, but she just can't find Strakova. The two speedsters of the Russian side almost with a breakaway.
Yeah, but look at the amount of Fijian jerseys that are there. That's a great sign.
Yeah, the Fiji side really working hard for each other. Hamidova, desperate to keep the ball alive. Bistrova. Well, Russia looking to finish on a high. And eventually it's moved out to Strakova. Second try for Russia's number 10, but it's going to be an inconsequence.
Too little, too late for the Russians. Strakova will have the last say in this match. Kept their wit, kept their composure after the long build-up, but I'm sure Alicia Tanibula will take a lot from this match, in particular the way that they defended for long periods in this game.
Well, they can now prepare for the 5th place final up against France. Russia, well, they will be playing against Ireland, of course, looking for points for their campaign. But a really impressive comeback from the Fijiana with that very